Okay, whisper. Okay, so Lucy begins walking towards Jakara, quietly talking under her breath in something between Elven and a language you don't really recognize anyone. The otter also seems to be readying a spellcast of his own. Lucy, does that do anything?
Idiotically, I haven't actually got that bit written down.
What the hell is happening here?
Okay,
You
sorry.
might need.
Spellcasting
I can quickly
is
run
happening.
down. I can quickly run down and grab my guidebook if needs be.
Pod's starting to look a bit nervous, and he doesn't grab his axe, but his hand is kind of hovering in that direction.
Okay, the Otto at this point in time also says a few words. Jack, can you make me a wisdom check again, please?
Sure.
Okay. The spell, the Otto's spell, manages to hit Jack. You suddenly start feeling your rage fade away, and you fall to the floor asleep.
Yay.
Dang it.
Slumber party!
I think you were
Yay.
only like 1 over my spell working. That's frustrating.
Yeah, well, I don't want to sleep with you. I want to sleep with Leotto.
Everyone
you
wants
wouldn't
to
have
sleep
slept
with
with
Leotto,
me.
apparently.
I'm joking. Oh, God. What were
Actually,
you going to do
might
to
have
me,
done.
Lucy?
Oh no, I wasn't being mean. I was just trying to get you to focus.
Escal uses chill the F out.
Basically, yeah.
Right, anyway, I sleep now.
Okay, so you kind of crumple to the floor and fall asleep on top of a pile of books.
Oh, yeah.
Pod
Avina,
looks to Leotto and nods.
Poor Avina.
Leotto walks over towards him and says, he'll probably be out for like half an hour or so, to guess. That's how mine usually tend to last anyway.
Good to know.
Well, what was that?
It's a very good question, and we were going to ask him. However,
I don't think he was going to be able to answer at the moment.
So you probably picked the best choice.
I look towards them, look at Jack, and just whisper softly, "It's complicated. You probably shouldn't ask."
Sure as hell is complicated, but this is the sort of thing we're going to need to know about if we're going to work together.
I'm not sure if you're allowed to know.
Yeah,
Next
this may
time
be a problem.
if I draw a picture and he goes off raging, that's not really the kind of thing that... It's the kind of thing that we need to know. Because if we, lay out the fire in a particular way, is he just going to go off raging each time? It's kind of important thing for us to know, so it's not a case of us needing to know. It's not a case of us being allowed to know. We need to know this.
Escal looks increasingly awkward and just says, "I don't know if the being inhabiting his soul wants you to know. If I tell you exactly what's going on, it may destroy you."
Charmaine, roll an int check to see if I even know what a warlock is.
Yep, go for it.
Well, int or arcana, probably.
Yeah, sounds about right. Well, arcana, history, or religion would be relevant.
Nah, I should have rolled religion.
you've got a vague idea that you've heard stories of things like this happening before, but you don't really know any details other than this is a thing that can sometimes happen.
So Pod's expression doesn't change much. We'll have to talk about this later. I'm not gonna. I just can't deal with that much of a volatile factor here.
I understand, but it's not my place to explain.
We'll wait. We'll discuss it later, and we'll decide later. For now, back to the topic at hand.
What the fuck is this? Yeah, exactly. Do you have any ancient books around here that may contain anything like this?
Avina laughs and says, "That's not really the kind of thing I tend to read. Most of these are, well, a little more practical, though I'm starting to certainly wish that Leoto's father was around. He might be able to shed light on this kind of thing, but..."
Can I just check something?
Uh-huh.
Did that all whisper, or is it some of it sent to a party?
It is sent to the party.
Yeah,
Okay,
looks
that's
like it. Okay, so Avina begins kind of carefully picking books up from around Jack and says, "By far the easiest lead to follow is to find this Sigra and to find out what the hell she's been doing with my town."
I'll agree to that.
Sounds like a plan.
She looks at the two sleeping figures collapsed on her floor and says, "I suppose you might want to take a rest for a little while."
Well, considering everyone else's, are there any other wizards in the town that you know of that may know something about this?
She shakes her head and says, "This Tinsful isn't really a particularly magical place that wizards tend to gravitate to. The spellcasters around here are generally just those related to a profession of theirs: gem cutters, jewelers, the odd armor or weaponsmith. Nothing that would have much by way of theoretical knowledge." He also at this point quips, "This is why I'm going to be going away to university."
Fair enough. So,
Just as an aside, I'll post the first part of the chat because I was just reminding Charlotte of kind of like the nature of the dream I have. But you can kind of hear Jack whispering stuff along these lines, murmuring it under his breath.
okay, well, it seems like all of the knowledge is in this room on the matter, which is unfortunate because the one person that could have told us has gone crazy and then went to sleep. And Tesseran, who may have known something we don't know, has also fallen asleep. So,
What a mess.
yeah, it's a rather good afternoon.
Venus sighs and says, "Well, there's no point wishing away what has happened. I'll make our friends here as comfortable as I can. In the meantime, you're welcome to rest up and have some food. Our kitchens will be more than able to provide anything you'd like."
Thank you.
Alright then.
That's
I
fine.
could use a bite to eat.
Okay, so this will count as a short rest for you guys by the time Jack and Tesserin have woken up. So if you wish to do so at this point, if you need to heal up, you can expend one of your hit dice to do so.
When you say short rest, how many hours?
Just an hour or so, a little bit over an hour.
That's a pity. If it had been
Wow.
4, I'd have been able to
Someone
do
got
some
rested.
useful stuff.
That was a nice roll.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was.
You had a damn good rest.
Maybe it's a good meal.
Maybe. Okay, well, I think we can continue on. No reason to stop now, so...
Okay, so you guys are resting up. A little over 3/4 of an hour later, Tessren and Jack begin waking up.
At this point, Escal is still just kind of sat on the floor, very, very close to Jack, kind of watching him.
And
the
Pod is
sleeping
taking Escal's
beauties emerge.
her seat next to Tezrin.
So, does anyone want either of you two sleeping beauties wish to explain what the hell's going on?
I say that I need to speak to Escal alone.
I nod to him and say, shall we go into the other room?
Yes.
Feel free by all means, Avina says, and gestures towards you.
I'm looking very sheepish and murmur a very garbled apology to Avina. And I promise to pay for any damage I did to the books.
She nods and says, "It is of no matter. Well, at least I hope not. You're the one to judge that, I think."
Which is lucky because books cost 25 gold apiece. You don't have that kind of money. Like, seriously.
I was being polite. I can run up a tab.
You'd have to mortgage the whole city.
Okay, guys, do you want to talk out loud or do you want to whisper that one?
James?
Depends on what the rest of the party are doing. Are they going to try and listen, or are they going to get on with their own thing?
We're in the other
Guys?
room and it's a stone wall. Chances of us listening through it are pretty slim.
Fair
Well,
enough.
they are
Pod
pretty slim,
is-
but
Pod is going to respect their privacy for now. He's not going to really press and yet. So, staying
I'm-
out. Yo.
Potentially fine having this conversation out because I'd like to act it out, but I can whisper it. It's up to. So what does Lucy think?
Or you could do a different channel.
I don't mind either way.
if you're happy acting it out, you can act it out. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so so their conversation will be going on while you guys talk to Tessren, who's also coming round about now.
So, Tessran.
Tezrin smiles. Yes?
You fell asleep when you saw the picture, and the half-orc went crazy when he saw the picture, and we had to put him asleep. What do you know of this?
Oh, well, I don't know anything about the picture, but I guess I was really anxious. Biomus decided to make me go to sleep instead of being anxious.
Okay, so it wasn't the same thing to do with the picture then. It's not... It doesn't
Oh,
make
no, I
some
don't
people
think
go
so.
crazy.
Oh, let's hope not.
Would you care to take another look? I know you're of the religious persuasion.
Sure.
He also puts her hands on your shoulder and says, "More importantly, are you alright?"
Oh, yeah, I'm really fine now. Thanks for worrying about me.
He also smiles charmingly. Okay, you have a look at that. You recognize the symbol very vaguely. You think you might have seen it appear in some very, very old book or another. You don't really know what it is, but you do remember it wasn't associated with anything good.
This symbol is definitely evil. But that's all I know.
Okay. Okay, well, we're pretty much going to have to wait until the other one comes back in. and maybe he can explain it without going crazy again. Leoto, do you have another sleep spell, or should I go to the apothecaries and get a sleep potion ready?
He shakes his head and says, no, I should be alright for today. I'm running a bit low on magic, but I've got another couple spells in me.
Well, you never know, we might need it in a minute.
Let's hope we don't.
Hopefully,
nods.
Escal won't need to knock him out.
Well, it's either that or we all jump on him and try and calm him down that way.
Yeah, because I'm sure that's gonna calm him down having a
Oh,
horde
yeah.
of people jumping on him.
Okay, in the other room then, guys, what's going on?
I need to know what you know.
About you?
You clearly know. You clearly understand something.
I look at him and just say, well, I know what you are. I don't know how you came to be that way, but I know.
Do you know from experience?
At this point, Escal looks sheepish and says, yeah, you could say that.
Do you need to speak to him?
To him?
Him.
The one inside you?
Yes.
Is that a good idea?
My thought is, if you have an agent inside you, and I have something else compelling me, it's in our best interests that they know each other.
She doesn't. Hold up, we've got a Josh. What?
Guess who just woke up?
Oh, hello.
Good morning.
I kind of passed out after college.
You
I know that
muppet.
feels.
I've had a stressful day. It's the only thing I wanted to do.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Well, things have been eventful. We'll catch you up in a second.
If someone can transcribe the events quickly
Yeah.
in the chat, that would be useful.
Varys, you've been wandering around town quite happily all day. You come up to the Avena's townhouse, see that everyone's looking rather worried, and they fill you in on events.
Varys, nice of you to join us. So, things have been interesting today. So after finding good old Bianco, he got killed.
Oh,
We're still trying to figure out who, what, and how. The only how we know is magic. The only who we know is someone evil. Escal and Liato saw some sort of hooded figure in the room when he died, and it seemed to be some sort of magical or psychic energy that killed him. Seems like some sort of crushing or impact pressure to his chest from magic. So we've been investigating that. Haven't really found much except for this. And Pod points to the paper which has a some sort of rune written on it. See, how's that described again, Char?
Be ready.
It looks a bit like a sideways figure of 8 with some kind of decoration on it that looks a little bit like ropes or scales or something along those lines.
so scales.
There was
Yeah.
also 12 rats, roughly, cut in half and strewn about the place on the floor. Very carefully.
And you said that some invisible figure had run out of the area that this
Yes.
rune was in?
Yes, something invisible hit into a elderly gnome on the way out and pointed us in the right direction. So, there's no reason to disbelieve him.
And he had somebody with him, you said, right?
Yeah, it was his daughter, I believe.
Out of character, I just realized in the middle of saying that Pod didn't know that. Oh well.
It's fine.
So yeah, I was suspicious of the, Did you meet the beggar that sold us the map?
Yes,
I was
he
the one
paid
that
for the
bought it.
beggar. He paid for the beggar.
So yeah, he went to the whorehouse afterward, and apparently he's engaged now to the lady that he met.
Good for him.
Yeah, I thought it was rather fishy, but I couldn't really get much of a lead out of that, so I don't know if that's related or not to well, what's going on.
Any newcomers been through that are very suspicious?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Has there been any newcomers that have been very suspicious in the town?
Well, I think honestly we're probably the most suspicious people in the town right now.
Did anybody have eyes on the tiefling at the time of his death?
Wait, what? I was giving out
Hooded
the money in the
figure.
marketplace.
Hooded figure you never trusted.
I have a hood, but I never actually wear my hood.
The figure also had spiderweb tattoos on its arm. Out of character, are Scominos's arms visible right now?
Yes.
Yeah, they
And-
will be. No spiders cut tattoos.
And Pod points at the untattooed arms.
You're clear this time, tiefling.
Varys, I'm gonna be straight with you. This isn't gonna be the place for racism.
Our races of ours, a few knocks.
I'm sorry, I'm out of character. I'm having trouble hearing you.
It's probably because my mic's like so far and I just really, yeah.
What was that last part again?
I don't even know, I'm blabbering to myself now.
Should Lucy and I go to a separate channel?
Okay, so we'll leave. Okay, let's leave you
Maybe
guys
Whisper would be-
for now. I think that's kind of got the gist of it. Back to Jack and Lucy, who are having Warlock Bros time in the other room.
Warlock.
They're warlocked up in that room.
Jack, you were saying.
I completely understand if you don't want to share that side of yourself, but I think we both can understand each other on some level here. I will do my best to help you stay in control of yourself, and if you help me.
I can do that, but, well, you seem to be under some impression that I can control it or her. She is a bit more impetuous than your friend seems to be.
I think we should not make presumptions. I think we have more power in this than we think, and I think we can remind ourselves and each other of that.
I look at him and just say, that's fair, and I draw out a mirror, and it's a silver filigree mirror, and on the top of it, it's got a single teardrop. And I kind of look at him and just say, well, I haven't always been the most responsible of people, and one day I snuck into a noble's manor when they were having a party, and I happened to acquire this. What I didn't know at the time was that it belonged to someone called Veronestra.
And Veronestra is more than a mortal being.
She is a being from the Fey world.
I know nothing except Maya lives on planes beyond this one. I wish I could say more, but dark in nature, very dark, teasing, cruel.
Mine isn't quite dark, but she certainly has her quirks.
I think we can recognize each other as friends, and I think that my affliction will understand that. Let me just say, my hope is that the being continues to protect me and those who I care for or I'm allied with, and my hope is that I can excise it before that patience runs out.
I nod at him understandingly and say, my hope is that if she ever decides to go out of control, you just hit me over the head with your quarterstaff.
Jack laughs a little bit and goes, "Okay, I think we can come to an agreement." As far as as others know, I am a half orc. I am obviously afflicted with the curse of Grumsh, and I think for now we should best explain that this is linked to my. Well, it's not a lie to say that this is specifically linked to my clan, and that's as far as I know. These dreams have haunted my people for a long time, and I would suggest that we just restrain me before showing any strange artifacts again.
I nod at him and say, they are pretty suspicious, though.
I understand that, and if needs be, I will go my own way for their safety.
Eskel looks slightly disappointed by this and just nods.
I think we should go and explain ourselves.
I agree.
So we come back in.
Okay, you two are doing this while as you arrive back in, it seems as though there's some kind of debate going on between the newly arrived Druid, Pod, and Skamenos.
Pod is pointing at Skamenos' untattooed arms.
Yes, I've always admired Skamenos' muscular arms.
Why,
is there
thank
a
you.
point to this?
Oh, just quelling some fears, I suppose.
So, what happened? And what is this?
Skamenos, are you still lying on the sofa at this point?
Yep. I always remain calm, so I'm just...
He's in the iron bull pose.
I always remain calm, so
Oh
I'm
my
just
God,
doing
Lord.
draw me like one of your French girls on the sofa.
Good God. I'm.
Well, that's a thing. Moving on. Very, very swiftly.
I said that mainly because I want to see Telemaine have to draw it.
Oh
God.
Draw
my
Skamenos
God.
like one of your French girls.
I'll be sure that like when Tezrin passes out, you just remain on the couch and everybody looks at you is just like, are you gonna move? And you're just like, no.
I start to explain. So I think it's obvious to most of you that I am, shall we say, part orc.
Really?
Pod nods.
And as some of the more learned of you will know, we have certain creatures that we try to escape the grasps of.
The Orc God Grumsh has
That
a
would be
sway
the
over
one.
all of us.
Mm-hmm. My feeling is that my clan has been dogged by even the humans have been dogged by a malevolence of Grumsh that manifests in unusual ways. My advice henceforth is whenever we look at anything that is dark in nature, I should not see it unless I am restrained. If this will be a problem to you, I will leave you to your journey and I will go my own way. I have my own errands I must run, and I would appreciate your help, but I understand if that is too large a burden to place on you.
The main question is, how do we know what these dark symbols that you speak of are? Obviously now we know this one, but how do we know if we put a triangle upside down that you're not going to go crazy?
With all due respect, I think it's quite obvious when a symbol is dark in nature.
The
Well,
Otto
this
raises
one
his
was,
hand
but-
at this point and says, "There's usually blood or body parts."
Yes, blood and body parts, and I'm not the kind of person who faints at the sight of blood, as you might have noticed. It has to be. It's going to be obvious.
Alright, well, let's hope it's as obvious as you say. Pod still looks a bit skeptical, but isn't really speaking up about it.
At this point, Escal just kind of looks between Jack and the others and says, I can understand a part of what he's going through, and for what it's worth, I trust him.
Well, we need to know more about this symbol, and we need to find the... I can't remember what her name was now.
Sigra?
Sigra, yeah.
That's the one.
So we need
Now,
to find, we need to find Sigra, and we need to know about the symbol.
Now I know that the symbol is not just something in my imagination. I don't think I will be quite so surprised by it again. I don't expect this effect to occur again. I will try and recall where I've seen it before and the way I've seen it before.
Please do.
Go ahead. Have another look, and I pass the paper over.
Arcana?
Babe?
You...
Wow.
Oh,
Will I calm down? Do you want to whisper to me what it is, Charlotte?
Awesome.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Actually, this critical bonus could link into my character story, so that's quite nice.
Mm.
So
yeah,
don't
that,
tell
that actually works.
Okay, give me 1 moment.
Yeah, unlike my somehow knowing everything about the Elas or whatever their name was.
Everything about her family, but nothing about Drow.
Yeah, not right.
That was quite spectacular.
While reading this, Jack just chuckles and looks at Tesserin, who is... I don't know if Tesserin said that out loud, and was like, I think sleep is good for all of us sometimes.
I think that was in response to the roll, so that would have been out of character.
Oh, fair enough. Well, I still say something to that effect, just not in response.
I've probably
Okay,
said
there you
something
go.
like that anyway.
I only see this, so I think I see the shape of a snake that is biting its own tail. I only see this in the worst of my dreams. I didn't see this when I fell asleep under Leoto's spell, so this is not an induced vision. This is one that only comes at the worst of times.
Lovely. Any idea what it means or what it does?
If I could figure out that answer, I probably wouldn't be on this journey.
Fair enough. Pod size.
Okay.
Well, I guess we should go after Sigra.
Yep. I guess we're going up to the top of the mountain. Is there a particularly quick way, or is it a long, arduous journey up a lot of steps?
Avina gives you a look and says, "You've heard of the lift, right? You'd have seen it as soon as you walked in the town, surely."
Pod chuckles.
She sighs and says, "All right, there's If you head towards the cliffs right by where the waterfall comes down up to the north there, there's a very large opening that will take you up to the Great Lift. It's been around a good decade or so now. It will take you up to the top quick as you like. If you need any help from anyone either at the lift or up top, you ought to be able to trust the captain of the guard. He's a halfling called Caden, and I also know the mayor of Tin's Height, a lady called Hemp.
Jack has a moment and goes, yes, the lift, the strange people from across the ocean call those elevators.
How dare
I
you?
It's an American joke, people.
Go sit in a potato chair.
In character trolling.
Okay, I guess we head out that general direction then. If everyone is ready to go.
Okey-dokey.
I ask her if there is another way up if the lift / elevator happens to be tampered with.
Jack suggests that the tiefling shouldn't try climbing.
I wasn't going to climb, merely that she made her escape very quickly and could have done something to the lift / elevator.
Avina says, well, there are stairs heading up, although they're rather old and disused these days. But there are a number of different lifts up there. If one goes down, I highly doubt that all of them would.
Okay, that's
Sure
fine.
hope so. Alright, let's go.
We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz.
No, you need
And
you
that's
need the
all I can
massive
sing.
panning. You need the massive panning shots across New Zealand, just going. "Dur, dur, 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 dur."
Well, I don't quite have panning shots, but I do have a pretty picture, courtesy of Bellarmine.
All I see is Tyne Tight. Ah, there it goes.
Tin's Height. Here we go. There it is. Pretty. Okie dokie. So you bid your farewells to Avina and Liotto. Liotto winks at Tesseran as she leaves and says, hope to see you soon. Stop looking at me like that, Shane. It makes people happy. They enjoy the sexy elves.
Eskel
Stupid sexy elves.
grins at Liotto doing this and just kind of waves cheerfully at him.
Okay.
I guess we head up.
Yes, you do. So you head towards the lift. Can you guys make me a history check, please?
Rolling.
Boom!
Oh!
I know everything!
Okay. Well,
Scamanos gets a bonus to lift checks.
righty. Scamanos, you manage to catch sight of a very large poster on your way up to the lift, which tells you all about it.
How come it's off of a poster? Why don't I just know? It's like, I can read! Yay!
You didn't have a clue that the lift existed 5 minutes ago. Mostly. Okay, so well, actually, for a start, I'll play some music. Well, which one? I think this one I want.
I've actually added some elevator music to the
Yes,
chat.
but I can't do that one.
I've got town music.
This has to be Vinsvet. Or Vinsvet. I don't know how to say it. It's
Vinsvet?
I don't know. I
That's how
think
it's
it might be
spelled.
Norwegian.
Okay, so the poster tells you an awful lot of information about the lift. As Avina said, it's been around for a good decade and is known as a great feat of engineering. As you approach the cliff, you can see the lift stands right next to the waterfall, which sprays down over the top of the Vaden Wall, as the cliffs are called, that separate Tin's Height and Tin's Fall. The buildings of Tin's Height come right to the edge of the cliff. Some are almost teetering off the edge and crowd around the waterfall and lift area far above you. It used to be that any caravans coming down from the Dwarven Mountains or northern towns of Naldrin would have to stop at Tin's Height and then take a road down around the cliffs. However, since the lift was completed, people and goods have been able to travel directly between the two towns, going straight up and down the cliffs. It was actually a joint endeavour between multiple towns, cities, universities, and people, academics from all over the world, and seen as something of a testament to the diversity Naldrin celebrates. The lift, you can all see, is made up of, as you get closer, is made up of multiple lifts and platforms. A few of them are designed for small groups of people and light goods, while another is huge, absolutely massive, easily capable of lifting a couple of heavy wagons at once. There's also one very small lift which looks as though it holds around 3 people and can shoot quickly between the height and base of the fading wall. There's also a guard flag on it, so you can guess it's mostly used by them. Massive pulleys are heading across the various platforms that pull cords between the various lifts. The poster also tells you that this is helped by layers of spells that ensure the systems run smoothly, and the lift is in fact celebrating the fact that in the decades since the lift opened, there's not been a single hitch or problem all the way through. In this large square that leads up to the lift, there's currently a short queue of people waiting to board the platforms, and you can see the heavy wagon lift is currently being used to bring a cart and horses down the cliff. A large clock on the wall shows that the time is around 3 in the afternoon now. So, you basically have a choice. Do you want to attempt to skip the queue or wait to join?
I definitely skip the queue.
Scavenos tries to skip the queue. Who goes with him?
Escal does, actually.
Tezrin calmly waits in line.
Pod keeps Tezrin company.
I feel like the lawful alignments are coming out here.
Jack's still thinking about what he's going to do. He's kind of waiting to see the sort of consensus.
Varys?
I just hang around the back, just ignoring everyone.
So you queue up.
Practically, yeah.
Okie dokie. So, those of you who attempt to jump the queue are stopped by a couple of guards who say, whoa, 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 no skipping. Come on. There's a line, people.
I smile at the guards and say, we've been sent by Avina on official business.
He frowns at you and kind of gives you a look over and Scamanos a look over and says, wait, there was a tiefling helping out Avina's guards earlier, right?
That is me.
Kind of nods and calls out behind him. Over by the guard station at the bottom of the lifts, you can see a halfling wearing a guard's uniform and a badge on his chest, talking to to the other guards in the area. At the call, he approaches you and says, "Good afternoon, ladies and gents. What can I do for you today?"
We need to get up to the top as quickly as possible. We are on business from the mayor.
He raises an eyebrow and says, "Oh, aye? What's going on with Avina?"
We can't really say at the moment.
It's
Is this
relating
the
to
captain of the
Bianca.
guard?
Last I heard, Bianca was captured by yourselves, if I hear correctly.
Is this the
However-
captain of the guard?
He's a tanned male halfling with a badge on his guard uniform.
Okay, so I'd say to him, the only person we can speak to on the matter is the captain of the guard.
He shrugs and says, "Well, that's me. Would you like to join me? We can have a chat about this privately."
Yep, that's fine.
Was that within earshot of the rest of us?
Roll me a perception check. See if you were paying attention.
To be fair, if we're going in, I would have called you all over.
Same.
So it doesn't really matter if you
everyone's
heard
just
or not.
looking at the view.
I was just there like, oh, look, a bumblebee.
Well, none of you actually notice this is going on. In fact, you're not even sure. The only person who notices that Scamanos and Escal have actually left is Varys. However, they call over to you and you go over to join them. Caden kind of raises an eyebrow, but he waves you into the guard station, tells his officers to clear out for a moment. He sits in a chair that's really almost too high for him to actually get up into without trouble and says, "Right then, what's this all about?"
We are after one of the town guards who possibly came through here earlier on.
One of our guards? What on earth is going on?
Her name's Sigra. I believe she's sometimes called Sigs.
Well,
Brown
yes,
hair.
yes, everyone knows Sigs. What is she in trouble? Do we need to help her?
It's not so much her that's in trouble.
What do you? I don't understand.
We more believe that she might have caused the trouble or be part of the cause of the trouble.
I interject and say, either way, she's very likely in danger.
His eyes widen at this. He says, "Good God! Okay, this is good.
Hence why we can only tell this to you.
Look, Sigs is a model guard member. She's well liked by everyone around here. Surely there's a mistake."
I wish there was.
Likewise.
I'm sure if you speak to Avina, she will fill you in on the rest of the details, but I'm not sure how much we're at liberty to tell you, so we shall just tell you the bare minimum.
He strokes his sideburns, which are pretty darn impressive sideburns, it make you all notice, and says, "Well, this is horrific. Well, I'd hate to think that one of my own could possibly be besides, especially someone who's been in the guard for so long, but uh, anything that will clear this up or help you, I certainly wouldn't want to put the town in danger. I'll do whatever I can. I'll have one of the how many of you are there?" And he counts quickly and says, "I'll have one of the people lifts brought down for you as quickly as we possibly can. Get you on the next one up."
Did you see her come through earlier on at all?
I wasn't here this morning, but if you let me check, and he pulls a ledger out from the desk and flips it and says, "Let me see. Sigra came through fairly early this morning. She was on caravan duty with some of the trading caravans along here, I believe. Yes, looking back through, she takes on this duty about once a month or so. Most guards do. It's just standard, making sure traders aren't robbed as they go through town."
Fair enough.
What time this morning did she come through?
The caravans always leave early. It looks as though it would have been. Let me see. Probably around 7 a.m. by the looks of things they were signed through.
Out of character, was that before or after our little parade?
That would have been before, quite a few hours beforehand. It was probably actually even before you managed to get down to Bianco.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. Well, hopefully we'll find her up in Tyne's Height.
Where would she likely have ended up?
All the caravans just go straight through the main road downtown and then either turn east or west from there, after which the guards come back. They'd probably be due at the end of today. It usually takes pretty much the entire day to get through, as the wagons tend to make sales as they go through.
All right. Thank you kindly, sir.
If you hurry, you ought to be able to catch them up, no trouble.
I
Yes,
look
I
at
intend
him I look at him and just say, "Don't suppose you've had anything odd happen today at all?"
Odd. He shakes his head and says, I've not had anything reported to me at all. Well, other than this unfortunate turn of events. Is something wrong? Something else?
I look at him and just kind of say, "Well, we had an odd meeting with what's his name? The jeweler, the gnome."
Oh, old Bod, yes, everyone knows him around here. What's he flipping moaning about this time?
A magician apparently bowled past him while under some form of invisibility. They seem to be rushing off somewhere. We just wondered if anything like that happened up here.
Oh, nothing reported at all. I'll ask the guards while we're waiting for the lift for you, but I've certainly not had anything unusual of that nature be reported. I mean, this is old Bod we're talking about. I mean, the man's a good soul, pays his taxes on time, never gives any trouble, but he does like to complain a little.
Let's just put it this way for now. We have reason to believe that he wasn't telling a lie this time.
Well, I never said he lied, but he kind of frowns and says, "Yes, I understand what you mean. I'm getting too old for this. You'll make my sciatica play up at this rate."
Alright, well, let's go ahead and get on that lift so we can catch up with that caravan.
He
We
not
should have borrowed
he
some horses.
okay. He nods and says, "Not a problem. I will get the lift down for you in just a couple of minutes. You ought to be up there in no time."
Appreciate it.
Okay, so you guys head out, and and Caden waves down the lift for you, so it gives some instructions to his guard, and one of the smaller lifts begins making its way down the cliff. You hear the clock strike 3 up on the wall. It was just before then as you went into it. And as that happens, you hear some kind of commotion and yelling from the direction of the very large wagon lift. Can you guys roll me perception, please?